In today's training, I'll break down exactly when and how to hire your first closer for your agency, specifically for marketing agencies, but it's the same thing for any type of agency. Very important in this video, before I actually show you how to hire a closer, you have to make sure that you're in the right position in your business to hire a closer. Many people want to hire too early. So today I'm going to break down the timeline of an agency and when you should hire. And once you're ready, I'll show you how to do it. So here's the timeline of someone who runs a marketing agency, more or less. You have the idea, I want to start an agency. You do the basic stuff, and then you sign your first client. You fulfill for that first client. From there, you're consistently booking calls. From there, you're consistently booking clients, so signing deals. Then your calendar is maxed out. That's when you outsource, and then you have to make sure you can pay your closers enough. So this is what I believe to be like a learning phase. Okay, so this is like beginners, you're just starting out, you're doing everything by yourself. Maybe you have a media buyer to help you with fulfillment, but you do not need a closer. I have so many people, they're right here with their businesses, and they tell me, Oliver, I want to hire a closer. Okay, that is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. I get it. Why? Because most people will tell me, Oliver, I don't have the experience. I don't know how to close. So it's only right for me to hire a closer and have someone do it for me, right? A good closer, will not work for a brand new company that has no case studies, has never fulfilled for a client, and you cannot pay him a lot of money. Even if you tell him, hey, I'll pay you 100% of whatever you make, it's still not that much money because you're not going to be able to do all of these things right here, which is give him enough calls to fulfill. Plus, it's going to be super hard to close for your company because you have no case studies, you have nothing. You're brand new. So that is why my recommendation is you sign your first client by yourself. Okay, it's going to suck, but learning how to sell is going to help you a lot. From there, you fulfill for that client. So you know that if I sign a client, I know I can service them and help them. And then once you reach a point where you're consistently booking calls with your agency and you're consistently signing those clients, at this point right here, I would still take the calls myself. Outsource fulfillment and keep taking the sales call. You will be the best person to take the calls for a very long time. Only once you reach a point where your calendar is absolutely maxed out and you know you could be booking more appointments if you had the time slots available, then I would look into hiring a closer. Because once you hire one right here, you have proof. You have fulfilled for clients before, you know you can give them enough calls, and you know that you're able to close on your offer, which means you have a good offer. But if you hire them here, they're going to have one call per week. They're not going to be able to close because your offer is shit. Plus, you cannot fulfill for your clients. So you have no case studies, you have nothing, and they're not going to be happy. No one's going to work with you. Okay, so wait until you reach this point, then hire the closer, then you outsource, and then from there you make sure that you pay them enough. I'll break down a bit later how much you should pay them, but you also have to make sure you're in a position where if you do bring on a full-time closer, with your offer, your price point and everything, they have to be making a pretty good amount of money because no one's going to work with you otherwise. Now, once we've gone through the timeline and you feel like you're in a position where you need a closer, then we go into preparation phase. Okay, so we don't hire one right away, but we start preparing for hiring. And this preparation phase can be done for any position. This one specifically is for closers. But every time you hire a new person, you should be doing this more or less. It's 4 steps, very simple. You record the actual event. So let's say I wasn't hiring for a closer, then I would like document how I would do the position. I don't know why I'm talking about this. It's not relevant to the video, but for closers, I'm going to record some of my calls. So actually, I'm going to record all of my calls that I've been taking from my agency. And then I'm going to prepare them in a document and not only show the good ones. That is a big mistake that I see people do. They only give the closers the best calls. And yes, that's good. Like give them good calls that converted into paying clients, but also give them the no closes. Have them understand when is it okay not to close a deal? Because if you only show him good calls, he's not going to understand like what a bad call is supposed to look like, and you will go through bad calls. So I like to give them all scenarios. So someone who closes, someone who doesn't close, someone who's unqualified, someone who just ghosts me, like exits the call in front of me. Really, every scenario that happens, I give them multiple scenarios so they can understand what is possible and what can happen. From there, once I have those recordings documented and placed and organized, I will build SOPs, one around the offer. So really break down, what is your offer? What are you doing for these clients that you're working with? And a good trick is you go see your friend who has no idea how SMMA works. You give him that document, and that person, after he reads the document, should understand from A to Z what your offer, how do you deliver, and like the ins and outs of what you're doing. Okay, your closer has to know your product extremely well. That is so important. So you break down every single detail on how to do it. For the people that I work with on a one-on-one basis, I give them my SOP from my agency. So they just copy paste it, and the offers are pretty much the same. So they have like a huge template that's already done. But for you guys, just make it extremely detailed. This is super important. Make one around the offer and then around the sales process as well. So what is the offer? And then how do I close the deal? So what is the structure of the calls? What's the presentation, sorry? What are the type of questions I ask? Do I do 2-call closes? Like how do I negotiate prices? How much do I pitch? So all of these things, again, documented like crazy. And these are things that I provide to my students because extremely important. You need this when you're hiring closers. From here, compensation. You're going to give them a percentage of the closed deals. I would prefer you to pay your closers more money than industry standard, because at the end of the day, these guys, they're money hungry. They want to make money. And if they're going to be well compensated, it is 100% worth it. Okay, to give them a bit more money if it means that they're going to close more. Okay, if you don't give them that much money and you're stingy with your commissions, there's no motivation to actually close for you because it's not that exciting when they close a deal. So the actual percentage will vary depending on your offer, your price point, your closing rate, the amount of calls you're showing, and all of these things. Someone who has like a low ticket offer, but you're closing left and right, pretty much every call is a close, you can get away with paying like 10%, 15%, 20% of the closed deals. If you're doing monthly retainers, so the traditional SMMA, hey, it's 2K per month, 3K per month, don't do 10% because, and let's say you were to sign 3 clients this month, which would be pretty good at 2K per month. That means you added 6K per month to your business, okay, which is considered pretty healthy. If they only get paid 10%, that's $600. Okay, that's nothing. They're not going to be very happy. So for monthly retainers, what I like to do is I pay them about 40% of the first month. So if they close a 2K deal, I will give them 40%. So that's $800 per close. So that's exciting. Like, hey, if I actually close a deal, I make $800. And then whatever happens afterwards, I don't pay them. So it's only you close 40%, boom, here's your paycheck. If the client leaves next month, it is what it is. That's not my fault. I'm supposed to retain clients. And if the client stays, then great. My media buying team is doing extremely well. Okay, so depending on your price point and everything, you just want to make sure they make at least 5K a month. That's like the minimum. If they make 5K a month, that's very good. Ideally closer to the 10K mark. From here, you prepare for hiring. All right, job postings. So very simple, quick intro on your company, how much you're making, what are you looking to do, what is the objective. Just like a quick intro, nothing too complicated. Like I will literally just say, I'm looking for 3 closers, like apply now, like you don't have to go too much in depth. I did make a video on my YouTube channel, if you want to look, on me hiring closers. So if you actually want to see me doing it, just go on my YouTube and scroll, like it's not that far ahead. And it's a video saying like hiring, I'm looking for 4 closers, I think that's the title. So you can watch that video and see how I do my job postings, my VSLs. From there, create a hiring form. So all of the questions that are relevant, again, like what's your experience? How familiar are you with SMMA? What are you looking to do? How many hours can you work? What's your time zone? Where are you from? What's your age? All of these things. Okay, everything that's relevant. Again, all of this I would give to my students because I've done it already. But for you, just sort of break down what's important. From here, ads. If you're running ads to acquire closers, which is very good, obviously prepare the creatives, the copy, and all of these things. Now, phase 2. Which is actually phase 3. Sorry, my bad. So phase 3, once you've done this, so we've established that we're in a good position to hire closers. We've prepared for the hiring. Now we actually do the hiring. The hiring process, once we get those closers, so like when I wrote job postings, The way you would like acquire closers, this is quite difficult. Like I should have added this here somewhere. But in terms of actually getting your job posting in front of people, there's job boards, so Facebook groups. I would just spam and put it everywhere and wait for applicants to come in. Running ads, very good thing to do. The best thing to do is find someone you trust, a friend who's interested in making money, that you trust, that you know he would be a good closer. He speaks good English, and he has what it takes to close. Like you guys will know at this point, like once you've closed a couple of deals, you'll understand who's able to close and who isn't. You find that person, like a close friend ideally, and you hire him. Okay, and from experience, everyone who I've worked with in the past, like ex-clients or people that came from my personal brand, like my YouTube, that those are crazy people, very good, or friends of friends. Okay, my latest closer that I hired, he was a friend of my closer. So he told me, hey, I have this friend who I know he's going to be a good fit to work with us. He knows nothing about SMMA, but he's a good closer. And it's very easy for me to teach. Okay, sorry for the thumbs up. It's very easy for me to teach how to, like it's easier for me to teach someone SMMA than it is for me to teach someone how to close. I'd rather have a good closer that knows nothing about the marketing agency space than the opposite. Okay, and then someone who's very good at marketing, understands the ins and outs, but has no idea how to close. Okay, that's useless to me. All right, so find people, post your job boards. If you have a personal brand, 100% leverage that. Once you start getting interviews, not to waste your time because you're going to get like a bunch of applicants, don't book everyone on a Calendly link for half an hour or an hour on your calendar. Do phone calls. 5 minutes, real quick. In a 5-minute conversation, you can quickly see if the person is going to be a good fit or not. So ring them up, have a conversation, introduce yourself, have them introduce themselves, tell them, hey, how did you hear about me? Why did you want to apply? And just see, do you think they would be a good fit? Do they seem adequate? From there, if they do, book a Zoom call with them. If they're a good fit, you hire them. You give them the training. You give them those SOPs. So this right here. Have him study that, max a week, a few days. He should be, if he's a grinder, he'll do it very quick. And then have a second Zoom call where you question him on everything and you make sure that he has everything dialed and he's ready to start. From there, you give him 10 calls and you tell him, look, you're part of the company, but you're not hired until you do 10 calls with us. We're going to have another call, or we're going to have a call after 10 calls. And then from there, we're going to make a decision as to if we're going to work together or not. Okay, set that expectation and tell the person you don't necessarily expect them to close a deal in your first 10 calls, but it's more so just reviewing the calls and seeing if there's potential. Now, in between me and you, if the person doesn't close in 10 calls and they're qualified calls, it's pretty much like it's a sign that the person's not going to make it. Okay, they should be able to close their first deal pretty quickly. But if that doesn't happen after 10 calls and you see or review their calls, there's no potential for that, then you're like, okay, this person's going to require way too much work to train. In that case, just move on to the next person. Okay, this is a long process. It's shit. It's not fun. But once you find those killers, it is 100% worth it. Okay, and if after 10 calls you see he's a good fit, then you hire, constantly review his calls, babysit that person, especially at the beginning, and then provide them with additional training and just have weekly, like maybe 3-4 days a week where you just sit with the closers and you have a conversation, you review calls, answer questions, give them examples, role play, do all of this thing, and just constantly train them and always make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, so I hope this is useful. That's pretty much it. If you want access to the full document with additional like resources on this, I don't know what I have exactly, but I have a free school on there. Like everything's accessible, and maybe there's going to be some resources on that. Otherwise, obviously, I have my one-on-one mentorship where I would basically help you build this out for you. Okay, so I have everything essentially built out already. The offer, SOPs, the sales process, how much to pay your closers, how to find them, the forms, the actual posting, how to run ads, also the training around for your closers. And also I would help you get to this point if you're not here already. Okay, so if you don't have a maxed out calendar, I'm going to first help you get there, and then I'm going to help you with all of these things. All right. Otherwise, best of luck with everything. Let's make some money, and we'll see each other on the next one. Peace.